I can't get into focus right now. Alright guys, I just saw the Justice League last night, and let me say, I think all the DCEU film fans can finally put their minds at ease because this was the better DCEU film that we've had so far, besides Wonder Woman. But let me get into the story. So after the death of Superman, there's been terrorism all over the world. So now Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Flash, and Aquaman, don't want to forget about him, have to all team up together to stop Steppenwolf, who has returned to Earth to wreak havoc. This movie was originally directed by Zack Snyder, but due to family issues that had happened back in March, I believe, he had to stop the filming and the production, and Joss Whedon took over to film the rest of the movie. And you know what? You can kind of tell the differences in the film. There's more comedy originally. I think there's more comedy now than originally there was going to with Zack Snyder. Let's go ahead and jump right into this movie. I think there is a lot more. The good outweighs the bad. I'll just go ahead and say that. Now, the Justice League, the team itself, had a lot of chemistry together. They were spot on. I really loved them on screen together, especially Aquaman and the Flash. They really made this film. I think a lot of people liked Aquaman and the Flash. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate to those characters. And I wouldn't mind seeing a standalone film. I'm pretty sure that we are going to get a standalone film for those two. Batman, Ben Affleck as Batman. He was really great in this movie. I really like Ben Affleck as Batman. He's probably one of the better Batmans that we've had so far, and they've added more humor to his character, especially in this film, and it's made him more likable. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I can't think of any other Wonder Woman. She is perfect. I can't think of anyone else to fill her spot. And of course, Henry Cavill as Superman. Now yes, he does come back. I think everyone going into this movie knew that Henry Cavill as Superman was going to make a return just from the trailer, so it's not really much of a spoiler. So all of these people together made for an awesome team. Now let's go a little bit into the comedy. Now this is why I'm glad Joss Whedon came onto this project, because he brought a lot of his comedy that he brought on from the Avengers and all of his other films into this movie. And again, when the team is together, they're cracking jokes with each other, and I'm really glad that, you know, Joss Whedon kind of came over and took over, because now that they have this comedy, I feel like it's going to attract a more wide variety of audience to come in. It's not going to be so dark and brooding like Batman v Superman was. You know, it's going to bring in more people, and especially Aquaman. I know I talked about this before. Aquaman and the Flash together, they do wonders. One thing that was cool about these action scenes was the Flash. Now, yes, I felt like they were trying to mimic a little bit of Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, where he's running in slow-mo, and he's, you know, maneuvering his way through objects, and he's preventing other things from happening while he's running really fast, but in slow-mo. But they added a lot of comedy in those scenes as well, especially scenes involving him and Superman. And they didn't make Batman some really big superhero who had these unbelievable powers. Like, they limited what he could do, because in reality, you've got Aquaman, you've got the Flash, you've got Wonder Woman, you got Superman. All of these people have these strong abilities, and then you got Batman, who can beat up thugs and has really cool weapons and gadgets. But that was the good thing they did in this movie. They, you know, in reality, Batman can't really do a whole lot. But that they didn't have, like, Aquaman picking him up and throwing him in the air and him, like, you know, they made what he could do realistic. Now, one more positive thing I want to talk about before I forget is Danny Elfman's score. You actually have sprinkles of both Danny Elfman's 1989 Batman theme song, as well as the original Superman movie's theme song, put into this movie. It was really cool, and it gave me the chills to hear the 1989 soundtrack along with Ben Affleck's Batman. Same with the original Superman theme song put in with Henry Cavill. It was brilliant. And when I originally had heard sources about this a couple weeks ago, that these theme songs would be put into this Justice League movie, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. That might be a little weird. But watching it on theater, watching it on the screen, it was awesome. Unfortunately, I do have to get into the negatives. Yes, there are negatives, but again, the good weighs out the bad. So let's get started. Steppenwolf. Everyone seems to be complaining. This is the main villain in this film. Just came off as cartoony, literally looked like a legit cartoon. His CG, his design was fine, but the way he looked, the special effects for him was so bad. It was very poor. It was just like, I'm the evil bad guy, Saturday morning cartoon. I want to take over the world. There's nothing memorable about this villain. Very poor. Steppenwolf was kind of lame. Again, I talked about it earlier, but the visual effects, they're really poor. Very poor. Not in all the movie, just some scenes you can really tell, ooh, those don't look like 2017 visual effects. Those look kind of shitty. Now there is one thing that did kind of bother me, and I guess this kind of does have to do with the story. It's not really a spoiler, don't worry. There was this one part, not even one part, throughout the entire movie, they focused on this one family. And in the end, we didn't really get a payoff from this family. And I think the reason why they were focusing on this family is it was for us as an audience to care about. Like, oh, I hope nothing bad happens to this family. But me watching the movie, and I'm sure other people too, it's like, who cares about this family? Just throw in some random civilians and have them get saved. I really don't care at all about this family. And they kept jumping back to them in the action scenes, and they were held up in this house, and it was just like, guys, we could easily just cut this whole family out of the script and out of the movie, and the story flow would have worked a little bit better. And I swear to God, if there's one more superhero movie that has a beam up in the sky, like a weird blue portal, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm getting tired of this shit. Just quit it. Come up with something new. It was fine in Avengers, the first Avengers, because I'm pretty sure that was the first time we've seen it, but now it was in the Fantastic Four movie. It's getting old. Quit it. Movie, I would say about the first 45 minutes, it's really slow moving. This movie does have some pacing issues, but not as bad as Batman v Superman, and certainly not as bad as Suicide Squad. But yes, again, it does have some pacing issues, but it does eventually, once the team is assembled, it really picks up and goes on from there. But all in all, this movie was alright. Was it as good as Wonder Woman? Not quite. Wonder Woman had better pacing. Was it as bad as Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad? Hell no. But was it on par with Man of Steel, which I regard as a very good DCEU film? Yes. I think the DC movies are starting to step in the right direction. They're getting there. They're making progress. And after watching this movie, I'm excited to see what they produce next. So, again, after having to have two directors on this film, and after watching Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, I think this movie came out decent. I was actually kind of surprised. I was kind of, a couple weeks beforehand, before this movie was released, I was expecting, here we go again. But if I had to give this movie a rating, a score, out of 5, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, and that's not awful. That's actually decent. I'm glad that this movie is doing well, and it seems like from last night when I was in the theater, I think audiences are gonna like this movie. Alright, spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this part. Go watch it for yourself. But if you have and you want to come back, that's great. So, spoilers. Let's get into midway in the movie. There's this big Lord of the Rings epic battle scene. You see Zeus. You see it's the history on Steppenwolf, and you get a hint of the Green Lantern. I thought that was pretty cool. So we might get Green Lantern in a future movie, or he might be in the Justice League 2. Now, yes, there are two. There's a mid-credit scene and an after-credit scene. Stay for both. Definitely stay for both. Let's talk about that mid-credit scene real quick. It's actually, I was, when we were in the theater and it came up, it's The Flash versus Superman. They decided to do a race. Now, if you know anything about comics, there was several comics where Superman and The Flash have a race to see who is the fastest, who would win. And they decided to do that in the mid-credit scene, and when I was in the theater, people freaked out. They're like, oh my god, they're actually going to do it. So that was kind of cool to see. Now let's talk about the last credit scene. This is going to set up future movies. So we start off at Arkham Asylum, and if you know from Batman v Superman, that's where Lex Luthor ends up. Turns out Lex Luthor escaped, and he's sitting on his big yacht out in the ocean, and someone comes up in a little dinghy. And who is it? None other than Deathstroke. Yes, Deathstroke will be appearing in the future movies. And Lex Luthor says, there's a Justice League, let's form our own league. Hinting at an Injustice movie in the future. People were freaking out in the theater. People were loving this. I was loving it. It was awesome. I'm excited. That was probably one of the coolest after credit scenes I've ever seen in a film so far. Alright guys, that was our review on the Justice League. If you liked it, go ahead and share, like, subscribe to my channel. Follow me at Little Sprec on Twitter. 3.5 out of 5 is not that bad. I thought it was a decent film. Let me know where you guys rank the Justice League in the DCEU film universe so far. I'll see you guys later. Hi, I'm Little Sprec. I'm gonna do this new thing called Driving with Little Sprec, or Driving Miss Little Sprec. I don't know, I haven't came up with a name yet. But I'm gonna be driving to my place of work, my studio, which is just a classroom, really. I really enjoy these commutes, you know? Only time I have to just relax. Oh, there's some cars coming. Continue to do it or not, but we'll see. If you guys want to ask me any questions, feel free and I'll answer them. Well, I'm here now at my place of work. That was my commute. I'm sorry, we'll cut that out.